Hello everyone. Today we have with us Kuntal Joyshir, who has climbed Mount Everest twice. And I am 100% sure by the end of this episode, you are going to get a completely new perspective. So, welcome Kuntal sir to the podcast and web series of Beyond Mirage.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me and letting me share my story. Look forward to the conversation.
Yes, definitely. So, sir, first of all, I would like to ask you, okay, how many mountains have you climbed, and which was the most difficult one? I would like to say, not just say physical exertion wise, but also from a mental perspective.
I mean, in terms of how many mountains I've climbed, I think combining smaller mountains, combining bigger mountains, I think I've lost count now because there are even mountains near Mumbai, and I think I have now done easily close to 800, 900 treks there. I have stopped counting how many treks I've done. And in the Himalaya and across the world, I have easily climbed more than 30, 40 mountains already. So I've stopped counting how many mountains I've climbed. But in the sense of how many big mountains I have climbed, mountains which are above 8,000 meters, I have climbed three mountains, which is Mount Everest twice from the north and the south side. I have climbed Mount Manaslu, which is the eighth highest mountain in the world, and I've climbed Mount Lhotse, which is the fourth highest mountain in the world. So these are mostly all mountains above 8,000 meters, which is about 26,000 feet. In terms of which is the toughest mountain I have climbed, I think it has to be Everest, for sure. Um, and not just because it's the tallest mountain in the world. Of course, that is also there because when Everest is the tallest mountain of the world, it is the only mountain that is at 8848 meters. Okay. So no mountain in the world is at that altitude. So the challenge it provides is unique and something that no other mountain in the world can provide. So sure, that is there. But just the entire journey of discovering my Everest and then actually going on the journey, going on a transformative journey where I built my physical fitness, where I built my mental fitness, where I went and I climbed many, many other mountains, and finally reaching the top of Everest, and so many failures in the journey. So, overall, the journey to Everest, because that is what my dream always was, I think that journey made it more challenging because Lhotse and Manaslu were part of the journey. So individually, while they may be fairly challenging mountains, the overall journey it was of Everest, and which is why I sort of count Everest as like a very tough mountain. And look, mountains are not always just physical. There's also metaphorical mountains that you will end up climbing in your life. So it's not like, okay, Everest is, of course, a physical mountain that I will climb. At the end of the day, when I reach the base camp and when I climb up from there, there's a lot of physical aspect involved. There's a lot of mental aspect also involved. But again, at a journey level, it's also a metaphorical journey all the time. Constantly, you are fighting your Everest in your mind, you are fighting Everest in many, many ways. And Everest is just this symbolism of the biggest dream that you could have in your life. For you, it could be creating your biggest startup or working on the next big idea, or for someone in the fitness world, it could be creating that next six-pack abs or running that race or whatever. It's your personal Everest. So I think at the end of the day, I think it's this metaphorical Everest, which is also, it is tough. That is why it's Everest, right? I had once read this message on a t-shirt that I ended up buying, that would you pursue a dream that was not tough at all or that was not challenging? I think the answer for me would definitely be no. If it was not challenging, or if it was not tough, or if it was not Everest like, I don't know if I would do it. And on the contrary, I don't know if you have seen the movie Dear Zindagi, uh, where Alia Bhatt once says that कभी कभी लाइफ में अगर इजी एवरेस्ट भी मिल जाए तो ठीक है. I mean, easy Everest भी चढ़ना is not such a bad thing, but easy Everest कभी कभी चढ़ना ठीक बात है. Otherwise, I think overall life में, as long as you are outside your comfort zone, doing more challenging things, doing more tough things, I think that's where a lot of transformation is going to happen, a lot of learning is going to happen, and um, I think your character development is going to happen, and
Right.
you're going to grow as a human being. I don't know if you know, I don't know how much you know about the fitness world, but fitness world mein, there is this concept called progressive overloading.
Okay.
When you want to build muscle,
Mm-hmm.
you progressively overload that muscle, and that is the only single way. Scientifically, there is only one way on this planet that you can build muscle, even if you are taking the drugs, the best drugs on on the planet. I'm not suggesting anyone take drugs, but I'm just saying that you could do whatever you want. The only way to build muscle is progressive overload, and by progressive overload I mean that every time you are loading the muscle with more weight,
Mm-hmm.
or you are doing more repetitions with the same weight, or you are
Right.
doing it faster,
Okay.
the idea is that तुम अपने मसल को लोड करने वाले हो, उसको चैलेंज देने वाले हो, and through that load and through that challenge, that muscle goes through a lot of wear and tear and starts rebuilding itself, and rebuilds itself much stronger for the next time. And this is exactly what happens when you go on an Everest like journey. You are faced with challenges, you will go through a lot of wear and tear through those challenges, and through those wear and tear you will be rebuilding yourself, but you will rebuild yourself into a much stronger version of yourself.
Right.
So that is exactly what happens when you go on an Everest like journey. Or without that challenge, without that wear and tear, without that failures, you are not going to grow. As simple as that. Just like a muscle will never grow without progressive overload, you will not grow as a human being without that progressive overload of challenge.
Right.
तो दोनों वर्ल्ड में ये जरूरी है. So which is why easy Everest on one side, and it is good to have. Like for example, right now it's pandemic. तो अगर easy Everest होगा life में तो अच्छी बात है, because then you are able to sort of weather out such situations. But when things are going good, you don't want to have easy Everest in your life. You want to have tougher Everest in your life.
Right. So I got to ask you this, like you are an engineer and you are a Gujarati also. So generally we Gujaratis have a perception like khao piyo aur maza karo, right? That's the main thing we have in our mind. So was mountaineering always your dream, or something happened in your life which led you towards more that journey more and more? And as you said about coming out of the comfort zone and then reaching at the top. So what is the kind of feeling when you reach at the top of mountain?
See, I mean, yes, Gujaratis believe in khao piyo and maza karo, but at the same time, Gujaratis are also some of the craziest and hardworking people that I have seen out there. So,
Absolutely.
like most Gujaratis I know, at least the most serious Gujaratis I know, are the ones who have a goal in their life. And sure, while that goal may be more financial oriented or more oriented around making money, it's their Everest. I'm not anyone to judge anyone's Everest, but
Right.
they really work hard for it, and then it's khao piyo maza karo. So
Absolutely.
so I guess in some way I didn't ever have the financial gene, or I didn't ever have the business mind that most Gujaratis tend to have. But luckily I ended up having that never give up, or that कहीं कोई चीज पकड़ी ली थी तो इन्हें छोड़वाना नहीं आपने, like finish करीने ज रेसू.
Right.
So luckily I have that gene, and when I discovered my Everest, it was good to have this gene in me. While the gene never got tested for 30 years of my life, because I would say that I still live a very privileged life, and for the first 30 years of my life I really didn't. I'm not saying I didn't work hard, but I don't think I worked as hard as I worked in the last 10 years while during my Everest journey, and the kind of challenges I faced during my Everest journey, and the kind of things that I went through my Everest journey. I don't think those things happened to me in the first 30 years of my life. So I didn't really know कि वो मेरे में है या नहीं है.
Okay.
And I think the last 10 years definitely proved that मेरे में है. And I think when you reach the top, especially for me, when I reached the top of Everest, it was in a way kind of a very mixed feeling kind of a thing, because on one hand, I was just so relieved that I have reached the top of Everest. That यार खत्म हुआ यार ये life में से निकली यार एक चीज. And not in a bad way or anything. Everest was the dream of my life and was the biggest sort of ambition of my life. So it was nothing negative. It was just a sense of relief that finally the dream has come to sort of fruition. And it was 10 years is the overall journey, but the first time I reached the top of Everest, it was like 6 years. And in that 6 years, I did not have any other life. The entire life was around Everest, training around Everest, working around everything around Everest. So it's as if I was eating, breathing, sleeping Everest every moment of my life until that point. And so it was just like, harsh khatam thai hua. Like,
Right.
કંઈક બીજું કરી શકીશ હવે લાઈફમાં. So it's sort of that kind of a feeling. But then on the other hand, it was just a feeling of extreme exhilaration. Like, imagine having the biggest dream of your life and then achieving that dream of your life and getting to the top. So that joy, that crazy feeling of actually seeing the top of Mount Everest or seeing the topmost point of the world and being able to stand on top of that point and feel. So many people had said so many things, but until you actually make it to that point and feel, oh, until you get that feeling, until you have actually done it, you will not ever know. And ऐसी feeling है ना, which is very difficult to describe in words. Like I can say, oh, the view was amazing, this, that, da 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 da, da. So many things I can say. But until you have gone and done that, how can you feel what I felt? It's just hard to describe, but it was possibly the 20 best minutes of my entire existence. So yes, amazing feeling. And it's always good to see, or it's always amazing to see this entire journey come to final, in some way, sort of a conclusion. It was not a conclusion because reaching the top is not like the end of it. You still have to get back down and still have to stay alive and not lose any fingers or toes. So a lot of things are still remaining, but getting to the top is like that culmination of so many years of hard work. And just, I think more than anything, I felt immense gratitude towards the whole journey, towards everyone who supported me in my journey, and just a chance to stand at that point that not many people in this world get. So I think it was just an amazing feeling.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. And I got to ask you this: that why did you take a leap of faith again to climb Mount Everest? Like I know the story up behind it a bit, but then too.
See, I always wanted to climb Everest as a vegan. And the entire concept of vegan for me is driven by compassion towards the non-human animals, and the non-human animals that are sharing the planet here with us. They are equal sort of members that are sharing this planet. It's not like just you planet human ke liye bana hai.
Right.
There's even non-human animals that are sharing the planet with us. And so I became vegan about 18 years ago. And when I decided that mujhe Everest climb karna hai, I told myself that I will climb Everest as a vegan or I will not climb it at all. So finally going and standing on top of Everest was kind of a big dream come true in my life. But one thing that's something that my conscience always bit me was that I was wearing a jacket which was made from the feathers of slaughtered ducks. Now, this one-piece jacket that I was wearing would save me or keep me safe and warm in temperatures of minus 50 degrees Celsius and winds of probably 100 kilometers per hour that could blow on top of Everest. The only issue was that there was not a single jacket in the entire planet that was made out of animal-free material. Animals have to be slaughtered for taking their feathers and finally creating this jacket. There is no other way out of this. And mountaineering is such a niche kind of a field that, and especially high altitude mountaineering is such a niche field that there are not more than 1,000, 2,000 people in the entire world doing it. And there's like 10 gear companies in the world, entire world, that are making gear for these 10,000, 2,000 people. Okay. So when I wrote to them saying, can you make an animal free jacket for me,
Mm.
their immediate response was, can't happen, impossible, financially not viable, who will do all the research and development? The existing jackets in the market were already tested for the last 25, 30 years, and
Okay.
the technology has consistently developed.
Mm.
So to suddenly bring out a new technology for a single human being requiring that, I don't think anyone was willing to do it.
Right.
And so eventually I said I will go and climb Everest while wearing a feather jacket, but I will prove to the world that even without eating animals or without drinking animals or without exploiting animals in any way, you can still climb to the top of Everest.
Mm.
My diet was still 100% vegan and my gear was almost 90% vegan,
Mm.
except this piece of equipment.
Mm.
So I could still show the world that it can be done as a vegan.
Right.
That is sort of what my mindset was.
Okay.
Uh, and look, Everest is considered one of the toughest physical fitness endeavors that a human in the world can achieve.
Right.
So, if a human can achieve the toughest physical fitness endeavor
Mm.
while being a vegan,
Mm.
then everyone in this world can achieve their biggest dreams while being a vegan. That is what I was trying to show. That is
Right.
what my major intention was.
Mm.
So I submitted Everest, but I still was wearing that dead animal on my body. And that sort of constantly was at the back of my mind. And I had to do something about it.
Mm.
It did not allow me to sleep in the night.
Okay.
It was not the way I wanted to climb Everest. And so today, personally, in the hindsight, I feel that it was one of the biggest failures of my life. While I still made it to the top of Everest, and I did it in style and I did not even lose a finger or a toe. I was actually doing amazing on that climb. I was super strong. I did great on that climb, but it was one of the biggest failures of my life because I wore a dead animal on my body.
Mm.
So I had to change that. I came back and I tried searching for a company that would help me create that jacket.
Mm.
Look, I don't have any experience manufacturing gear, okay?
Right.
So I could have done it myself, but then that would be like really taking a lot of risk.
Mm.
Luckily, I found a company called Save the Duck. It's an Italian gear manufacturer, and they helped me build one of the first synthetic suits of the entire world.
Mm.
And I tested that suit on a smaller mountain, which is Lhotse, which is the fourth highest mountain of the world.
Mm.
And once I was pretty sure about the quality of the suit and how great the suit was, I decided that I'll go and climb Everest. And which is why I went to climb the Everest the second time in 2019. And I finally made it to the top on 23rd May. And I truly believe that that is when I actually succeeded in achieving the dream of my life, which was a vegan expedition to the top of Everest. So while 2016 was a successful expedition in the sense that it was a stepping stone for me to get to 2019, it was in some sense also one of the biggest failures of my life because I should have tried harder when I did not, and I gave up. I should have tried harder. So that's always something that you can always think about it in hindsight and learn from it. Is that next time when I run into a situation like this, I will have to try harder.
Right. Right. So mainly about climbing in the purest of the form. That was the internal dream that you had for you.
Right. So just to sort of clarify on the purest form, look, purest form could mean many things to many climbers in sort of today's world. Someone could be climbing without oxygen. Someone could be climbing without the help of Sherpas. Someone could be climbing on completely newer mountains on newer routes. For someone, it could be without the use of ropes. For me, it was my pure style.
Okay, so we'll talk about veganism in depth, I would say. But firstly, right now, focusing on the climbing of the mountain, and I mainly feel there are two things. One is physical fitness, one is at the mental level. So definitely both are important. But in your opinion, which would be at a higher priority? I would say.
Look, this question I consistently get asked every single time,
Mhm.
and while I have even personally said this online quite a bit that mental fitness is far more important than physical fitness. I want to I want to underscore the importance of physical fitness here. Okay,
Okay.
like a lot of people think that अगर physical fitness थोड़ा कम होगा, then it is okay. We will use our mental stamina to get over that hump of lack of physical fitness. Whereas my approach is that your physical fitness has to be a given.
Hmm.
Okay, you have to be a physical fitness superman. That is the foundation of your entire journey. ओके,
Right.
ये तो ऐसी चीज है ना, मतलब अगर तुमने फिजिकल फिटनेस बना ही नहीं है ना, तो तुम सोचो भी मत पहाड़ चढ़ने के लिए.
Hmm. Right.
You should depend on your mental fitness when things are really, really, really tough. Like, for example, you are at 28,500 feet and you are at the last bits of your physical fitness. There is nothing in your body that will help you reach the top of Mount Everest. That is where you want to depend on your mental fitness to get to that last 400, 500 feet and get to the top. Okay, तुम 20,000 फीट पे पहुंचे हो जब भी पूरा पहाड़ बाकी है तुम्हारे सामने,
Hmm.
एंड एट दैट पॉइंट यू आर सेइंग दैट अभी मैं मेरी मेंटल फिटनेस लेके पूरा पहाड़ चढ़ूंगा, देन यू आर सेटिंग योरसेल्फ अप फॉर फेलियर. ओके,
Right.
सो physical fitness is something that you need to tackle first, and you need to pay a lot of attention at it, and you need to build a very strong foundation. It is physical fitness and it is your skill. So not just physical fitness, it is also the skill required to be a safe and a reliable mountaineer. So let's say you want to become a surgeon,
Hmm.
and तुम्हें सर्जन बनना है तो तुम्हें पहले उसके लिए कोर्स करना पड़ेगा, तुम्हें पहले डॉक्टर बनना पड़ेगा, फिर तुम्हें उसके लिए मास्टर्स करना पड़ेगा सर्जरी का. उसके बिना तो तुम जाके किसी का, हाँ ये चलो इसका कैंसर का सर्जरी करना है, मैंने 12th पास किया है, मैं इसका कैंसर का सर्जरी करने वाला हूँ. राइट, 12th पास कैंसर का सर्जरी नहीं कर सकता है. राइट, दैट इज नॉट लॉजिकल.
Right.
So similarly, if you want to become a good mountaineer, you also need to know what mountaineering is. You need to know the fundamentals of mountaineering. You need to know the basics of mountaineering. And even once you know those basics and fundamentals of mountaineering, you would still have to practice those.
Right.
आज मैं मेरा कैंसर का सर्जरी कराऊंगा तो थोड़ी जो पहली बार कर रहा है उसे कराऊंगा. जिसके पास 20-25 साल का एक्सपीरियंस है, मोस्ट लोग उसके पास जाएंगे सर्जरी करवाने को. राइट,
Perfect.
so it is your foundation is your physical fitness, it is your skill, and then वो foundation के ऊपर जो तुम्हें skyscraper बनाना है, that skyscraper is going to be built by experience of many years. So converting this to the mountain world, it's physical fitness, mountaineering course, and years and years and years of climbing mountains.
Got it.
Okay, that is what is going to help you become a good mountaineer.
Okay, so mainly yes, focusing first on the physical aspect and then using your mental strength at the end, right? But I would like
Right.
to ask one more question over here, and I think the most important question, like conquering mountains or say climbing mountains, and say facing situations in life would require a certain level of mental stamina. So how do you develop that in life?
Again, I'm going to take the same example of progressive overload. Please first understand even your question, what you said. You said mental stamina. You use the word stamina. Even in your real life, if you have to build physical stamina, how do you build physical stamina? Stamina only improves when you do a certain thing repeatedly and with more and more challenge and more intensity every single time.
Right.
Exactly the same way you are going to build mental stamina. Of course, everyone will have their own mental stamina journey, because मेंटल स्टैमिना का कोई ब्लूप्रिंट नहीं है. जैसे फिजिकल फिटनेस में कैसा है, तुमने वेट उठाया, तुमने रनिंग कर लिया, तुमने एक्स कर लिया, एंड you are able to build on to that physical fitness.
Right.
But mental fitness will have different journey for different people. तो concept same है, but journey is different होगा, and the way they achieve it different होगा काफी.
Okay.
But again, the idea still remains the same. When you go and you climb a mountain, I'm just going to take the example of mountaineering. Let's say I start going and climbing a smaller mountain. I learn from it. let's say I fail, so मुझे पता चलेगा कि मैं कहाँ fail हुआ, क्यों fail हुआ, क्या क्या हुआ. I will come back, I will work on those parts. Maybe it's physical, lack of physical fitness. So I worked on my physical fitness. I went back and I climbed a mountain again.
Right.
Maybe this time I will succeed. And that will build on to my mental stamina and build on to my confidence. Next time I will go climb a much higher mountain. Maybe I will face an avalanche. Possibly failures on the mountains, possibly avalanches, possibly snowstorms, possibly even injuries, possibly sometimes even climbing in some serious dark, in snowstorms, in a whole bunch of situations, and learning in those situations and improving based on your experiences, improving based on your learnings from those situations. And you, as you consistently become more and more comfortable in the uncomfortable, that's how you sort of grow your mental stamina. That's what, in my opinion, is very, very critical, and a piece that a lot of young mountaineers today are lacking is that they are directly jumping on to climbing bigger mountains without building a strong base. So
Right.
building that strong base of both a combination of physical fitness and mental fitness is, in my opinion, the best way to reach the top of Everest, and while being safe and reliable and successful and alive.
Right. Awesome. Awesome. That's a wonderful, short and crisp, say, takeaway. And thank you so much, Kuntal sir, for joining us today and sharing your wonderful insights with us. And I hope everyone out there who is listening to this or viewing this episode would have benefited from our conversation. And I hope you like the conversation. And thank you so much, sir, for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate this.